you ready?
We're on air.
We're on air.
All right. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. It's 4 o'clock. Is there a request for staff confirmation that the Kansas Open Meetings Act required notice has been properly provided?
It was.
Phew, that's a lot of P's. All right, roll call.
John Miller.
Ashley Campbell.
Larry Penkratz.
Kevin Janaszek.
Dana Casso.
Hey, wait, there you go.
Dana Casso.
Okay, so we are voting for a new chair and vice chair. Is that correct, Jeff?
That's correct. We have a new member of the board who is not present, Denny Walgren, who used to be on this board, but he's not in attendance today. However, our outgoing chair, Bruce Richardson, is no longer on the board, and I thought it'd be a good time to discuss. The board can discuss and make a motion to nominate a chair and a vice chair position. And it's also certainly up to you if you want to do that when Denny is here, but it's up to the board.
If you're all comfortable, you ready?
I think with Denny's experience, it would be nice to have him back.
Okay.
Yeah. Just,
Dang, I was hoping I'd get out of this job.
Oh, I'm sorry, Larry. Yeah.
Sorry, I gave you the board the option.
Okay, I
Apologize, Larry.
That's all right. No, if we want to wait one more month for Denny to show up, that's fine. So, everybody else in agreement? All
Works
right,
for me.
Sounds good.
So just to confirm, that means, Larry, you're running, you're the chair for this board. This
Yeah,
meeting
for one
tonight.
more month. Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Introduction of guests. Do
We have some people here with a new business item,
Okay. So we'll just wait till that
if you
comes
would,
along.
please.
All right. Citizens Forum. Does anybody want to get up and say anything? The City Commissioner, you want to say anything?
Commissioner Davis, I was going to say it from back there, but then I realized you wouldn't be able to hear it. You guys do a great job, and I enjoy coming to the meetings. So I think this board is a good example of how city staff and citizens boards can work together. So keep doing what you're doing.
I've got a good Parks and Rec staff to do it. So
I think I recorded that.
twice, right? All right. Yeah, it'll help my raise, that's for sure. Approval agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Activity reports.
Thank you, Mr. Pankratz. As I normally do, I'll go through and hit the highlights, and want to have some staff members talk about their sections a little bit and go through the activity reports. I'm not going to hit everything, every item. However, if there's a question about something that we don't cover, please ask. Parks accomplishments at Lakewood Park, we have a partnership with Arts and Humanities for a bronze sculpture in the north end. It's in the center island of the parking area at Lakewood Park. There's a sculpture that was installed there, and Dennis's crew cleaned it up and addressed it up. Looks really nice.
That does. It looks real good.
Yeah, and I think there's some a little bit of plans as far as plants going in that area to dress it up further. And that also at the Lakewood Discovery Center at the Lodge, new flagpole. We cleaned up the entrance into Lakewood Discovery Center. Really changes the view of how you see Lakewood Discovery Center in my mind. Seeing the house a little better or the Discovery Center better than from the road, making it more visible and present. So people know it's there more so. Landscaping, as I mentioned, we removed some overgrown plant material, cleaned up the island, the center island at the Discovery Center. We're going to be seeding that with grass. Cleaned up and mulched the circle bed at Lakewood Park on the north end for the public art. If you've been to Bill Burke recently, we have been restoring grass on Field 3, on the outfield, and then we've sprayed out and killed all the existing grass in the outfield, and I believe seeds already been established, and maybe it's growing soon, or if it's not growing already, it will be soon. Similar to what we did last year on Field 1. Also, if you've been to Bill Burke, we're actively removing debris from the river on the north end of Bill Burke Park. There's an item under facility maintenance construction for Bill Burke dugouts. When we had the dugouts restored and remodeled last year in 2024, they did it according to specifications of what the job called for. However, we wanted to finish off the trim around those dugouts to give it a little more of a polish. It's kind of our expectation and our standard, if you will, for shelters. Not shelters, dugouts and shelter houses, how we finish off that fascia trim so we cover it all with metal so we can try to preserve the life of that. So they finished that. They're moving on to BFRA, Berkeley Family Recreational Area dugouts, and remodeling all the dugouts on fields 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And I believe they're almost done with that. Yeah, and then they'll be moving over to Matson Field dugouts and coming up with a plan to fix those. And I'm not sure if you can fix those. And I don't know the scope of work, and that's why I'm not sure yet how we're going to address that exactly. I'm going to have Andrea speak about Kenwood Cove, if she would, please.
I don't want to go through all of the statistics and numbers I put in here, but I just want to say a couple of things. It was a pretty average year in terms of previous years. We're staying about consistent in terms of the amount of people coming in. The one thing we did see down was the memberships that are sold. One of the memberships I do want to really push in the future is our all access pass membership for those that want to do water walking either in the morning or the afternoon or the evening, as well as come to public swim. It's a really good deal, in other words, to be able to come at any time to the pool. We did start out rough in June with weather. It was cold at the very beginning. Water was cold for training at the end of May, so we actually had to go over to the Y and utilize their indoor pool just to get lifeguards trained for opening. But once we hit July, it was nice and hot, and it stayed consistent throughout. So it was a really good summer at Kenwood.
So, like, overall, I mean, you have how many people have memberships overall? Like, if you count all the daily people that showed up every day, how many people would you say were there?
It really just depends on the weather. We have anywhere from, I would say, 500 on a slower weekend day to a busier Saturday where it's 100 degrees out. We could even get closer to 1,500.
Really?
So it really just depends on the day, whether it's a weekend.
So 1,500 is kind of like your max?
Yeah, I believe our capacity is 1,750.
Okay.
So
That's why I was kind of curious.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, some of those days there's people parked all over the place.
Yeah.
So,
1,500 is a crazy day.
yeah.
The one number that speaks to me is the public swim youth memberships, 45. I mean, Andrea can agree or disagree, but I remember that being almost triple as far as the number of memberships sold to a youth. So I just
That's the one thing is I feel like membership numbers have really dropped.
Yeah.
Over like steadily. It's not been one big drop over the years.
Any idea?
No, I know we get some people asking questions in terms of price at the beginning because it is a big investment at the beginning of the summer, but I have tried really hard to explain the amount of days, so I think for all of our single memberships, you come 19 days out of the 75, 80 days we have of the summer, and the rest of the summer is free. I tried to advertise it that way so they understand that it is a big number on the front end, but that it's worth it. I think another reason that youth membership has dropped is a lot have switched to that group membership that's up to 5 people on it, we have it priced kind of based off of 2 adults and 3 kids. And then they can add additional youth to that as well. So I think that would be the one place that some of those youth have switched, is people have started going that route.
Yeah, because the age change, you wouldn't think that that would have anything to do with that much of a drop.
No, I don't think the age change had really anything to do with it, because I did not hear from the public.
You didn't hear any feedback
Really
from that?
any feedback or problematic with it. So
How is the when we can rent out privately? Was that up or down this year?
it was down a little bit. We were very booked from July on both those Monday nights like we had brought, but there were a couple at the earlier in June that we did not have. And we only had one private rental we had to cancel due to weather this summer, which was helpful.
So did you have a challenge during the dog plunge? That's why you have to change rules? Or?
Yeah, we had a lot of pushback when I first started about 5 years ago with 16 years and older only being able to come in. We had changed it to 16 years and older are only allowed to be in the water. If you are under the age of 16, for liability reasons, you have to stay out of the water. There was a lot of issues with that this year, people bringing even younger 1-2-year-olds in swimsuits that were then playing in the fountains as these dogs are just running around. I'm just worried about safety moving forward. So we're going to go back to 16 years and older, only allowed in the facility during the event.
Good point. Thank you.
Continuing on, I'll let Travis go for it. If you want to go ahead and speak to your areas, please.
It shouldn't take long. As mentioned in your packet, if we have a slowest month of the whole year for recreation, August is it. So kiddos, last minute vacations, kiddos getting ready for school, parents getting ready for school. And we're not complaining, by the way. That gives us a chance to recap and close out summer and then prepare for our fall, which our fall is very, very busy. So we do have a few things going on. You know, our youth volleyball, youth soccer are kind of gearing up with practices, preparing for their season. If you remember right, last year was we recruited this event, the Acacia Coaching School, and we had that for our second year. We had over 500 coaches and vendors that for a 2-day event, you know, in Salina. So that's a really good event. Our goal is to have those coaches and present in action instead of a room format or video, that type of thing. But those coaches really like seeing practices conducted in action, real life. So that was our goal, and it's working. Outdoors, you know, the youth slowed down for August, but this is time for I call them grown kids, so it gives them time to recreate a little bit. And I think I mentioned this before, but our adult softball numbers have gone back up. It never, ever be the heyday, but at least we're seeing those numbers go up a little bit. And so we have had 29 teams. We have a spring co-ed season and then a late summer season. And then we're currently conducting our fall season right now. So we kind of have a couple options for those adults. And then we even have adult kickball league. So if you want to get a laugh, you can go up there and watch that. That's pretty fun to watch. Other than that, we're gearing for fall activities right now.
And last item is a golf course. Mike Hargrave reported the August rounds have the most rounds in August we've had in the last 5 years. I thought that was promising. And then his numbers for first tee for the summer was 400 youth. And that's all I had for my activity reports. And again, if there's something that I didn't cover or we didn't cover or staff didn't cover, please ask.
The turtle at Jerry Ivey, I saw a letter. Was it to the city commission or?
That was a press release,
Press release, that's
that
what it was.
Arts and Humanities did, that they've, with Dennis's staff's assistance, are taking that for storage and possibly refurbing that base that sits on, and in preparation for some of the hopeful future improvements that we're doing at Jerry Ivey, including a potential splash pad. Dennis's crews got on their list to clean up the Compassionate Friends Garden on the south end of Jerry Ivey Park. And then also, we'd like to look at that bathroom next year on the south end of Jerry Ivey, but actually both bathrooms, to refurbish those bathrooms similar to how we've done other bathrooms. So I think they're going to put Poco, which is the name of that art, Poco de Poco, I believe is his name. And they're going to put him in storage, refurbish, clean up the bronze, find a better base for him to sit on, and then find a better location for him to sit. But it'll always remain in Jerry Ivey Park. It's just finding a better location for him.
Okay, we're ready for the expansion of gardening at former Stimmel School.
Thank you. This is a kind of an interesting item. We've always had an ongoing partnership with the K-State Extension Office for gardening of various city spaces, one at Carver Center and one at Stimmel School. There's a group of people that want to expand upon gardening opportunities at Stimmel. And I asked them to come to this meeting. So not only is this a guest speaker accomplishing that task, but also they wanted to make sure the board was aware of their endeavors for additions and improvements to that gardening at Stimmel School. And I'll turn it over to them.
Yeah, appreciate you having us here. I'm Jason Graves, Horticulture Extension Agent with K-State Research and Extension. And yeah, we have had a partnership ongoing ever since I've been a part of Extension. Began in 2010, so these gardens have been active even before I was here. And so this has been a long partnership with just being able to use that land, which is city property, and invite residents out to garden and basically take advantage of, having a little bit of extra space to grow some fresh produce. We work with a lot of homeowners that just have real small backyards, or they have various reasons that gardening in at their home is difficult. And so having these community gardens has been a big program of outreach for us. And one of the things, as we've kind of gone down this road in the last couple of years, we have seen the site up at Stimmel Community Garden, and does everybody know where that's at as far as location?
It's on Fifth and what's the east-west street?
Yeah, 5th and Stimmel is
And
the
that is Stimmel?
intersection.
Okay.
So it's right on the north edge. And so the location out there, there's a couple things that our collaboration is really interested in achieving out there. One is we historically, that area is hard to access for gardeners, just because it is a distance away from some of the other things in North Salina. And so we're targeting a project out there to really improve access to gardening. And this site just is kind of a natural fit, one, because it's in the North Salina food desert, and there's a big issue with access to local food just in general in North Salina. And I could have Barb maybe say more about some of those things. And that's why we're really excited to have the North Salina Community Development as part of that partnership going forward. We've also invited Kansas Wesleyan and the Community Resource Hub, as far as a resilience hub, to be a collaborator as well, because they have a real interest in what we're doing, and some real unique, I think, talents and things that they can bring to the table. Brian is also with Lakewood Discovery a part of our collaboration, because we really want to expand that site to include more than just adult community members. We want to expand it into reaching students, reaching youth, and really all ages, with expanding the access to the site. And so I do have a little sheet here that kind of gives, basically, if you don't mind, I'll hand those out to you. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That way, if you're...
I did include in their packet, I did include the map of the garden that you provided me.
This sheet actually has, and you can pass that That sheet has a site plan on it that we've been working on with, I'll give you that. Thanks, Jason. That site plan is something we're working with landscape consultants on developing, because this, we're really, as a part of this process, doing any work out there is a little bit challenging because we have a floodway to deal with, and that's been the first challenge, big hurdles out there. As soon as you go to start raising anything up in a floodway, things get really complicated, we've discovered. So we've been working, we've had a DRT meeting here with the city staff, and we've already been working on a no-rise certificate, which ideally, if we can achieve that, would kind of basically get us permission to do some of these light improvements, such as putting out raised beds and things of that nature, that would make gardening a whole lot more accessible. Because really one of the issues, we recently with North Salina Community Development hosted a listening session in North Salina for this garden to try and get the community's input. And that was something that was really enlightening, because it really highlighted the fact that a lot of folks are looking for a different format of gardening than just a big open square 600-foot square plot. They need something more accessible. And so we've had success at the food bank. We have a partnership through Extension with the food bank and the community garden behind the food bank, and we were able to again work with several of the same collaborators on that garden, and that has been a fantastic success as far as access, because we have handicapped accessible gardening beds, we have drip irrigation in those beds, we have benches, seating, we have shade access, out on those hot days, things like that. So there's a lot of features that we saw be successful there that we have carried over into what would be proposed out at a Stimmel. And really, yeah, that's kind of the vision for this. We'd like to kind of take what we did at the food bank that's been quite successful and really just expand it on a bigger level, bigger size. And so that's what this plan does. It really takes that idea and incorporates, the handicapped accessible gardening beds. We've got a community area, a raised bed area that would be set aside for community members to rent out raised beds. We've also got an area for school gardening, because with some of Brian's help, accessing students is a possibility to get them out to the site and to experience gardening and do a lot of learning, really food literacy for the most part, doing a lot of work with them on things like that. We have, and we also will still have in-ground gardening plots as far as folks that really do want the larger spaces to garden as well, because there's the space out there for that. And then we're also leaving room in the plan for a dedicated area for donation, or what we call plant-a-row type of gardening, where, and this is part of our mission with the food bank garden, has been to have volunteers raising produce that gets donated right to the food bank. And that's been the last 3 years, we've had over 3,000 pounds of fresh food just donated right from that garden into the food bank. And so a similar plan would be in place out here, and maybe even expandable in the sense of we can harvest or have larger, bigger rows of certain crops that can be harvested and given away or donated to North Salina, to that food desert. So that's the basic gist of the plan. We also have included an orchard, which would be a new feature on the site, and Brian, again, has an interest in helping us develop that. And just a fantastic new way to kind of expand some of the food that's grown out there. If we can get far enough, there's even a plan for, things like a high tunnel, and, maybe ways to extend the season and do some extra gardening like that. So that's kind of where we're at. The biggest thing, the biggest hurdle that really lies in front of us is funding, and that's with any project like this. So we have all these collaborators for a good reason, because we also are going to have to apply for a lot of grant funding, and probably even approach the city at a certain point. We're working with Angelica on the possibility of a block grant to help us out. And so that would be a significant source of funding, but it's an awful lot of work as far as applying for those. And so that would also require having to raise some matching funds as well to help accomplish that when we get to that portion. But otherwise, that's kind of where we're at right now. We're just on the front edge of starting to look at some different grants. We're really waiting for the confirmation on our no-rise certificate, because really we can't build anything out there until we get the permission to raise those, put some raised beds out there. I may have missed something. Do you guys think of anything I missed as far as you want to add?
Well, does your sheet include some of the items that were going to be put in?
Well, it's got this is the one I have.
Oh.
So, yeah, so this map on the back is really the most thorough, I think, up-to-date version of what we're hoping to accomplish. I mean, there is a shade structure. I don't think I mentioned that. We are pursuing things like solar lighting. We've recently added OCCK as a partner to our collaboration, because obviously for accessibility, we're going to need to get a bus stop out there because a lot of gardeners, as far as access goes, we don't want transportation to be a barrier. Right now, that is a big barrier that we're facing is access to get to the site. So, a bus stop is included in that plan, and that's why we've kind of brought OCCK on board for that. I was trying to think that the thing we really want to do is move this garden into a new era of outreach, because the current format of gardening is just it's becoming obsolete in a lot of ways for I think the folks that want to garden, and so we're needing to move forward into a different kind of mode of access as far as a garden goes, and so that's what we're hoping to do. And in 2020, we actually had 3 garden sites as far as the Salina Community Gardening Program, and one of those sites was lost in the south part of Salina due to the development with Schwann's and some of the south development. So since then, we've had these 2 gardens, and we'd like to really focus on making some improvements in order to invite folks in our community to get to be a part of a community of gardeners again that is has some energy, has some community to it. So that's kind of our goal. I think I'd be happy to take any questions if you guys have any thoughts or questions, or these folks can answer. Yes, and of course the building out there, the old Stimmel school building, has been coming up in a lot of our conversations. Now, currently, the parks does house some equipment in that building. It's pretty run down. It's as far as its state of disrepair, but it does work for that. We have an interest. One of the long-term goals and interests for a garden out there would be to have restrooms, access to restrooms. We get a lot of gardeners that come out there, and that's one of the big things they tell us every time they sign up is like, I wish there was a restroom. Like, it's so far away from everything. And so that is, as a part of our ongoing plan, we do have that included as a possibility to look at. It came up in our DRT meeting, how, it's a tricky kind of pathway to see if we can work out reconnecting a sewer line and having a couple restrooms in one quadrant of that building. So I don't know where that'll all end up, but that would be a huge piece of the puzzle as far as our access in the future too. So anything else?
Yeah, any questions, maybe we can...
Yeah.
How big area is this?
Well, it's just under 2 acres of size. So, it's decent enough size. We can do a lot of gardening out there. And right now, we're not using all this. We're like on a yearly basis, we've had a decline in gardeners where we're not renting out all those spaces just because I think the style of gardening is difficult for a lot of folks as far as I mean, dealing with the weeds on, a 600 square foot plot where we just turn them loose on the plot we provide, the water access is there and there's some mulch and things, but really it's all on them to accomplish the task of gardening. And what we're wanting to do is really reverse that and create a situation where we can get a lot more help for those gardeners. We've had a lot of creative ideas come up, in the listening session. Things like having a blessing box out there for gardeners where we can put plants and seeds, and we can do everything to take the barriers out of their way so that it's feasible for them to participate. And I think that's one of the things we want to do with this going forward. So having all these collaborators is going to be essential to bring more people to the table as far as what we can do out there. So.
To follow up that just gardening.
Can you come to the
we
podium,
also-
Brian? Thank you.
To follow up with just, that's part of the gardening, but also to have a community get together. Let's say you may have a spring planting where you invite everybody out. If you want help with your garden, we can help plant or kind of advise maybe what to plant or how to do that. You could also have a summer picking Saturday or whatever, and even a fall harvest. Just some days that you can invite the public. If you want help with your garden, we'll have a few people there that could maybe help you out or whatever. And then we sort of talked about Kansas Wesleyan to where we want to hook up opportunities to where students, they want teaching and mentor opportunities. We have kids that can come out and do gardening. I talked to 305 about how receptive they would be to adopt a garden or whatever. And one of the big drawbacks, and they're right, is the main growing season, they're out of school. So whatever they do may just go to weeds. So what we're wanting to do is match up if they have a classroom or a school, maybe it's a whole school, match up a school or a classroom with a Kansas Wesleyan student, and they can kind of get together, and maybe the KW students can kind of watch over the garden over the summer, or some of these gardening days will have the public come in and work on it. And then there's actually something growing when the kids come back in August, and they can actually pick something. So those are some of the community things that we'd like to involve with this garden, not only just independent gardeners, but community garden also.
And Brian, could you introduce yourself for the record?
Brian Underwood with Lakewood Discovery Center.
You're the naturalist there.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And then from there, you could have all kinds of other organic groups meeting or working together. That's the hope of having, especially North Salina, to have more things to do as a community, as a group.
Any other questions? What's a high tower?
A high tunnel?
Tunnel.
It's
Yeah.
like a greenhouse.
Okay.
Or just a tunnel with a tarp over it.
Okay.
It holds heat during the winter.
All right. My wife wouldn't know that, but I'm clueless. So, any questions? Do we need to just make a motion to?
I'll just add a few items from the department, Parks and Rec Department's perspective. I think the opportunity, well, just my personal opinion, I think we have the ability with this expansion and the addition to produce almost, probably more than 10,000 pounds of food for people who truly need it. So that's exciting to me. Also, I think it would give Brian opportunity to do more programming relating to natural resources. And then we've also, Brian and I have also talked about there is a master plan item that we have not been able to address relating to orchards and we could use some master plan funding for that orchard and contributing from our master planners our funds towards that project. Their water line is existing there. It's been there for a long time. From the city's perspective in providing that water to the garden. And lastly, Jason and I have been talking quite a bit recently about kind of putting a memo of understanding together relating to the city's support for their grant endeavors so they can fundraise. So that's already somewhat in place to do that with. I think just for the sake of formality, it would be, if you were to consider a recommendation for them to go forward, it would be helpful.
Well, I think that, I don't know how the rest of the advisory committee thinks, but I would be very supportive of this. There's, especially with people challenged with food, but also just gardening as a whole and getting more partnerships going would be good. So does that sound kind of like a motion in a way? Does someone make a motion on that?
I think you just did.
I did? Okay, any second?
I'll
I didn't know if I could make a motion since I'm not really sure what my job is. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Great. Sounds like a great idea. I'd like to get some more use out there. Maybe you can get a convenience store out there eventually. So.
I know. A you pick.
Yeah. A you pick. That's good. Well, thank you. The next one is the Boys and Girls Club development.
Yes, I wanted to make sure the board was aware. There was a group of individuals representing Boys and Girls Club, and they are looking at requesting for the city, or they have requested from the city, land to be able to construct a Boys and Girls Club at south of Sunset Park at Bondi Field. Their request was made in a study session, so it was a group of people who came to the city commission. There's been no formal action on that. However, we're going through some steps. One of the steps is October 9th, Thursday at 5:30 p.m. And it is at, I didn't list where it was at, but it's at Friendship Center. It is a open forum listening session for the Boys and Girls Club to receive the public. It'll be advertised to the public through social media, press release. We're also sending a mailing out to that neighborhood of Sunset Park to invite them to come to Friendship Center on October 9th, Thursday at Friendship Center, to interact with the Boys and Girls Club, ask questions, see some conceptual drawings of what they're proposing for a building to be placed at Bondi Field. And that's Bondi Field number 1 at the corner of Jewel and Concordia. Coronado. And it's just south of Sunset Park, where there's an existing ball field, field number 1, if you know where that's at. Travis and I have been having conversations about looking at options for other practice fields, because if this were to be moving forward, we would have to find alternative practice space for May through July-ish. So we're actively having those conversations together. Or developing another space that we have at our park that we could use as a practice field. Bondi Field really serves as a drop-in free baseball field for practices, and there's going to be some impact to that building if that proposed building did go in there. However, on the other end of that, Boys and Girls Club has a need, sees a need in the community that they want to fill for after-school care, and I think that's also a good need as well. So wanted to make sure the board was aware that that public meeting is, I will repeat it again, Thursday, October 9th, 5:30 p.m. at Friendship Center. And you'll hear that. And then from there, well, I don't know the steps from there, so If the board has questions about that, please ask. Our intent is to invite the public, and I also mentioned, I did not mention, it's also our intent to invite some of the baseball community who use that field so they can have an input as well.
So what size building are they looking at?
I don't know the details of the building. I saw a schematic of the building, but it would be a fairly nice building. It would have a small gymnasium in it. It would house It would be able to provide care for up to 120 children. Travis and I met with the executive director that was recently named for the Salina Boys and Girls Club. And they have quite a mission of providing a social service to the community in that need that gets filled for after school care. In the weekends, they could make the facility available for various activities, and through the summer, they can do camps of such things. I think I really couldn't tell you the size of the building, Mr. Pankratz.
It looks like a good location for it.
And they have done quite a bit of work. This is a 2-year process for them. They've looked at all kinds of buildings. I showed them Friendship Center a year and a half ago. Just didn't really work for the square footage that they wanted. Didn't have an elevator. So they've been going through this process quite a bit. They have funding. They have they've been fundraising. They have an architect. They have drawings. So they're taking all the necessary steps to get this building done.
Great. Any questions? All right, move on to old business.
In your packet, there is a request for proposals that went out in early August. I've talked about Jerry Ivey splash pad to this board, I think, for 2 years. Sometime in July, early July, we went out for bid for a design bid build process to have a splash pad done. With alternates of possibly doing other things, the water wall, the memorial update, sidewalks, replacement and additional sidewalks. We got 0 bids for that process. Quite disappointing day when we got 0 bids. However, we quickly consulted with the city manager and did a different style of process. I would call this more of a design build process. And we went after the manufacturers. Went after is the wrong way to say that. But we targeted the splash pad manufacturers and questioned and gave them a proposal or the opportunity to look at a proposal for a design, purchase, and installation of a splash pad similar to how we do playgrounds. A lot of those manufacturers of splash pads also do playgrounds, and playgrounds do splash pads. So we wanted to take the opportunity to see if we can get proposals from them. Those proposals were due August 28th. We received 10 total proposals from 6 different vendors. So one vendor might have proposed more than one. And we have those proposals. Staff have been scoring those proposals. As you can see in the RFP, you can see how our method of evaluating those proposals based on experience, design, number of features, layout, warranty, things like that. And we're scoring those, and next Monday at the City Commission on September 22nd, we will be presenting that to the governing body for approval for a project for the proposal that scored the highest. This method will be a little different than hiring a construction firm to do it for us. They will do most of the work relating to the splash pad and the mechanical. The city has a component to do some of these items, to do the final hookups for utilities. We have to hire a plumber, electrician. We'll have to do some site work to prepare the site. But it's not turnkey, but it's close as we can get it with having a good number of proposals and keeping a cost at a reasonable number. The cost, if you recall, the original, one of the first bids we went out to for, and we had one bid, was $1.8 million. That was for the splash pad, water wall, and memorial together. The splash pad by itself, we were estimating at 1.1 million, around there. We're anticipating this to be, and as you can see, as part of the RFP, we said, what can we do for $650,000? That was our budget. So with a city component, city responsible component, we're looking between 680,000 to 720,000 is what we're looking at. So that's what we're going forward with the governing body on Monday. But I want to make sure you're aware of that. And this was the RFP. Part of the RFP process was question and answers. There's about, which I didn't include in the packet, there's about 10 pages of questions and answers as addendums to this RFP that I answered for potential proposals leading up to the bid opening or the proposal opening on August 28th. So I wanted to make sure you knew there was some progress being made on the splash pad, and it's with the intent of getting something for the summer of 2026. So we're motivated to move forward and get it done. And if there's questions about that, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions? Nope. And the proposals are looking within that budget area?
They were all under $650,000.
Great. All right, we'll move on to project status updates.
Sand volleyball is almost complete at Jerry Ivey Park. We're waiting the firm that we hired to construct that. We're waiting for a few items that to come to be shipped to them. We had to make an adjustment on the net size. However, that'll be delivered, and then within 2 weeks' time, they'll have everything in from the company and installed, and we'll wrap that project up.
Enough for fall volleyball league?
Yeah, I think that's been 2 years too, is right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yep,
So it's exciting, to have two pits side by side, and we have
Looking
pretty good volleyball group, so they're excited.
The dog park at Parker Park, we've substantially completed that. It should be open to the public. We're trying to get it notified to the public that it is open before the weekend. But we had to order some benches, but those benches had some problems. So we are getting parts for the benches, proper parts for the benches for those dog parks. We have signage going up for rule signs. We have dog waste dispenser, bag dispensers, and little trash cans. We have our larger trash can needs to go in, benches, and there's a few little items that need to be done. Some soil needs to be filled in here and there for holes and things like that. But it'll be open soon for the public to use. Matter of fact, the gates were unlocked and it's already being used by people who bring their dogs over. So we had one little thing we had to resolve earlier this week, which was the water line. We needed to turn the water on. And then there was another valve inside the drinking fountain, inside the dog bowl, that needed to be turned on. So the plumber came back Tuesday. I think it was yesterday. They came back and did that. So everything's working. Everything's fine. We've approved their work. Just those few little items that need to be addressed. And they're the same contractor as a change order are working on Barclay Park Dog Park improvements. Those are progressing nicely. The concrete's been poured. We're waiting another about 12 weeks. There's a 16-week lead time for the shelter houses that we ordered for those. So the concrete work has been done. and we're waiting for the shelter houses for 3 of the sections of Barclay Park. We also added the 4th section, which we talked about, and that 4th section will not have a shelter house. However, the concrete slab is there, and it can accept a future shelter house purchase when we have the ability to do so. Water lines are in for the that 4th section for a dog bowl. I think the dog bowl's installed or soon to be installed. So fencing's up, so that's progressing nicely as well. The contractor on 9th Street's median landscaping improvements has already started, and we're progressing down 9th Street. And if you've driven 9th Street, you probably have seen them with a portion of the road closed off depending on where they're working at. And lastly, we've had our meeting, our pre-construction meeting with the firm that's doing concrete work in various parks for sidewalks and parking pad improvements, and they're actually the same contractor that's doing the dog park. They also were awarded the bid and had the low bid for the concrete work. So once they finish Barclay Park, I think they're going to move right into doing these concrete improvements and most likely start at Oakdale Park. Phew. And if there's anything else, any questions about any of those items, I'd be happy to answer those.
It doesn't look like there's any questions. The annual board training?
I'm going to go quickly through this. I know Denny's been through this before. All of this, Dana hasn't probably been through this, but if it's really up to the board, I can go through this packet quickly, or I can wait till next month when our new board members here. But this is a required annual thing that I need to do with the board. Typically, I do it now when we have new board members. Sometimes I do it one-on-one, but I was going to do it as part of the board meeting. I don't know what time it is. However, I can do it now or next month, depending on whatever the board desires.
How long is it going to take?
7 minutes.
All right, do it, do it. If you all want to leave, you don't have to wait for this. But if you want to hang out, then you learn all about us. Thank you for coming. You bet.
Thank you. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Barb. Thanks, Brian.
No, you have to stay, Brent.
As you can see, a new member board orientation. We have an agenda, and I'll go through that agenda right now. We have lots of city departments. This is the city departments, and we have some partnerships within the city of Salina as well. Some of our various boards and commissions. What the Parks and Rec responsible boards and commissions are this board, Parks and Rec Advisory Board, the Animal Controls and Appeals Board, and the Tree Advisory Board. The City of Salina organizational chart.
By the way, it needs a city manager there.
Yeah, this was the most recent one I can find. There was one change to this organizational chart. The city manager is Jacob Wood, and not vacant. Parks and Recreation, I have our mission statement that this board has also reviewed and approved, and our 5 different divisions within the department: Recreation, Parks, Animal Services, Golf Course, and Facilities Maintenance. And also we have responsibility of overseeing the contracted management of Tony's Pizza Event Center. As I mentioned, these 3 boards, that's when they're scheduled. Conduct and expectations. We do record attendance for attendance to board meetings. There is a process we follow if someone does not follow that attendance requirement. As part of this board, you should have received the rules and procedures for conducting boards and commissions packet when you are appointed to a board. Dana, did you receive such a thing? You did not? Okay.
I think so. Did you send it to me?
It might have been sent through email.
Okay,
I don't know.
I may have just missed it, but
Good.
thank you.
Thank you. Suggestions to follow during the meeting for decorum and for professional things. Some of our responsibilities: attend, listen, engage. We do have a youth liaison member who is not in attendance today, so it's been some time since we have an appointed youth member. Recall that youth members are non-binding. Their votes do not count, nor does their attendance towards quorum. Okay. Some other responsibilities. It's our staff responsibilities to prepare this meeting, to follow Kansas Open Meeting Act requirements, and be a resource to the board. The chair's responsibilities, vice chair's responsibilities. I won't read these aloud, but you can read them. To consider future appointments.
I didn't either.
We
Actually,
didn't know we had
looking at-
secretaries.
We didn't know we had a
Assistant-
secretary.
Yeah, assistant.
That's Manuela right now.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Manuela's taking notes.
all right.
Some boards have staff members who are secretaries. Just so happens this board is designed to have staff takes notes. It's always been that way. Now, if someone from the board wishes to take notes, be happy to have that conversation.
Well, you do a great job. Yeah.
Ethics policy, you should have also received an ethics policy for the city of Salina when you became appointed to this board. It has some important things. I'm not an expert on some of these things. However, we must adhere to the ethics policy and ensures fair, independent, and impartial governance. Conflicts of interest. I've talked about Kansas Open Meeting Act's requirements, making sure this has been informed to the public that it is a meeting, that it is available for them to attend, that it is televised, so people can consume their local governance. Avoiding interactive conversations. An example I can give you would be if we're sending a message to the group using this meeting to discuss questions or answers. Interactive communication would occur when you respond to the whole group and then there's a back and forth through email. That's something we would like to heavily avoid. So if I'm emailing a group or any staff member really, and I need to ask Kevin a question, I'm going to only speak to Kevin. I'm not going to do it to the whole group because that would invite open, interactive communication that should be done at this board in a public fashion. Does that make sense? Conducting business, we really usually have regular meetings. We've occasionally had special meetings. We don't typically have an annual meeting or a study session with the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. Kansas Open Records Act, procedures to follow when someone wants to have specific information. That's usually coordinated through our city clerk's office. They record the request for open records. She's the one that coordinates, she or he, the city clerk's office coordinates the getting of those records and sending them out. And there's a link for that so you can access them electronically. And last slide is parliamentary procedure about making sure we have quorum and how to phrase a motion or reconsider a motion or withdraw a motion. Again, I'm not an expert on Robert's Rules of Order or parliamentary procedure. However, we do have people with the city of Salina who have some expertise. If you wish to get more information, I can make that happen. And if there's any questions about that, I will happy to answer them if I'm able.
Do you have a question, Kevin?
That's
I
like
do
6
not.
minutes.
Okay.
Nope.
All right, yeah, I know. You rolled that in real quick.
I'm trained.
Yep, you're trained. All right, if there's any other comments? If not, we needed a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion we adjourn.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Do we adjourn? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say same thing. Thank you very much.